So one of our sponsors, Camille Stale, and she is here to talk about building a 21st century law practice. And I'll just tell you briefly, our Darwin Talks are 5 minutes, so I don't time people and kick them off. But so it's a 5-minute talk, and it's supposed to be thought-provoking and lead into the networking. And that's what we'll be doing after this, is we'll be going back out to where we have some of our other Evolve Law members and local folks demoing their software. So please don't just run out after we finish these 3 Darwin Talks. Please come and see some of the technology and drink the wonderful wine. And is there wine? Yeah. I never got that far. I was at the table. Drink the wine and beer. And I will let you get started. Do you have the clicker? You're good? Okay.
All right, I'm Camille Stell. I'm the Vice President of Client Services with Lawyers Mutual. We're a bar-related malpractice insurance company, providing legal malpractice insurance for lawyers here in North Carolina, primarily solo and small law firms. There are many challenges for 21st century lawyers. Many of these challenges are beyond your control, such as increased cost, new methods of competition. But not all things have to happen to you. You can be a part of this changing marketplace. For example, LegalZoom is a reality. Many lawyers bemoan LegalZoom. They talk about how they can benefit when LegalZoom products mess up for clients, and the law firm can swoop in and fix them, clean up the mess. LegalZoom isn't going away, but I believe there are many of their clients are ordinary people in your communities who would be your clients if you would do 4 simple things. Educate them about their legal needs, show them how you can provide solutions to those legal needs, market yourself so those clients can find you, and present them with pricing they can understand. Not discount pricing, but transparent pricing. So today, in our newsletter, we ran an interview with Chelsea Chapman, an associate lawyer with the McElveen family law firm in Gastonia. In talking with Chelsea, who's a millennial lawyer, we were able to see firsthand how managing attorney Angela McElveen's forward-thinking approach has set their law firm apart as innovators in the industry. From their transparent management style to their collaborative workspace, they're constantly finding ways to move their firm forward. I've got a few pictures of the McElveen office I'm going to share with you. The one in the middle is a whiteboard. The McElveen team gets together every Monday morning, all the lawyers, the staff. It's a 6-attorney firm. They have a CFO, an IT director, multiple paralegals, legal assistants, and associate attorneys. And they sit around in a comfortable work setting, and they talk about what their production reports are. They're a family law practice. Angela has a call center with 2 employees working in her office. She knows how many calls need to come into the call center, how many of those need to turn into qualified leads, how many of those need to come into office for consultation, and how many have to hire her in order for the firm to be profitable. And on a random Wednesday in May of this year, Angela cut a $1,000 check for every employee because they met a new milestone. I wondered if the lawyers really liked working in this open environment that you see over here, if they really hung out at the rooftop bar, if you will. Here's what Chelsea, a millennial lawyer, had to say about it. I love working for McElveen Family Law. Innovative thinking is necessary in order to run a successful business. I'm lucky to be part of a firm that embraces technology and also seeks out new ways to make our procedures as effective as possible for both employees and clients. In my experience, a firm that fails to pay attention to technology is asking for a bar complaint. On my first day at McElveen, I remember being completely in awe of how organized our clients' files were. They're all paperless, no paper in the office. Personally, I think a lack of organization is a problem that many solo firms need to address if they want to stay in business. Additionally, I love my firm's open workspace. The layout of the firm enhances productivity and cultivates energy. Working with a group of forward thinkers makes me excited for the future. I believe you can leave here today and do 5 things to build a law firm for the future. Number 1, start the conversation in your law firm through your long-range planning committee, your strategic planning committee, or your marketing committee. Invite Lawyers Mutual over to be a part of the conversation, or call Jeff Ward and have coffee with him to continue the discussion. Join Evolve Law as a member. Number 2, collaborate with everyone in your firm. Traditionally, lawyers believe the practice of law is unique among all professions, and they resist the idea that a law practice can or should be managed like a business. I encourage you to continue to love and respect the law, but to recognize that there are those without a JD degree who can bring good ideas to better your firm. These conversations should extend beyond partner meetings and should include associates and all the legal professionals who currently work with you. As well, you should be looking to hire people with new legal skill sets. Number 3, build a network outside of legal. Talk with your business friends or other professionals and ask what they're seeing and what they're doing to address changes in the profession. Number 4, think like an entrepreneur. Train yourself to think in a new way by exposing yourself to new ideas. Subscribe to the Legal Talk Network podcast or Startup podcast. Read Malcolm Gladwell, Richard Susskind, Jordan Furlong. And hire professionals that enhance the skill set of your lawyers, not just mimic it. And finally, number 5, read, attend, and study. Congratulations to showing up at an Evolve Law event. Just by being here shows you're ready to consider a new future. Continue to show up where people are talking about things that they don't always talk about at the local bar meeting. Attend the Clio conference next year in New Orleans. Continue to follow Evolve Law. Join meetup groups that involve technology. Join the local Legal Marketing Association. Our October 12 meeting is going to feature Patrick Fuller, who's going to talk to us about artificial intelligence. It's all happening is a quote from one of my favorite movie characters, Penny Lane, from one of my favorite movies, Almost Famous. Penny seems to be saying that everything is falling into place as if fate was bringing destiny to its ultimate fulfillment. You cannot be complacent. The tools are available. The future is here. It's all happening.
Wow. So that's awesome. We're really excited with Evolve Law. We do these events, as you might know, around the country. And we had 76 people sign up for tonight, which is unbelievable for a first-time event. I think that would be a record. And we did first-time events in Denver. Recently, we've been in the South. We've been Nashville last week and Atlanta. And in each of those areas, I mean, we're happy to come back and do other events, but we really want to have people that lead things here. My phone's going to fly out of my hand. Lead things here and create. I know we're going to hear from a couple people who are involved in the Legal Hackers group, and that's wonderful, but leading the Legal Innovation group, the group that can then reach out to the people who aren't the converted. So the people who aren't in this room and figure out how to bridge that gap. So we are doing a series of events called Bridging the Gap, or Bridging, we decided we would explain what gap that would be important. So bridging the technology gap in the law. And so we're going to do those around, and we're happy to give you the information on how to do that kind of event. The first one I think is going to be either in Atlanta or Seattle. So I don't know if we want to announce the winner. How about we do the 2 talks and then we'll announce the winner at the end? What do people think? Keep the suspense going. Okay, so next we have Kevin Lee is going to come up and give another Darwin talk.
Hi, everyone. Well, I'm an odd man out here in that I'm a philosopher and I study information philosophy, which is kind of a strange thing in itself. My talk's called 4 Revolutions, How We Need to Think About Legal Technology. So it's the need here is actually, I think, a normative claim. Whoops, what do I need to do here? Yeah. Oh, I've got it the wrong way. That's the problem. There you go. So I draw a lot of inspiration from Luciano Floridi, who's an Oxford philosopher, written a number of books, and he has a center on internet here, which I like quite a bit. He talks about 4 revolutions. The first one is 4 revolutions that had the effect of changing the way we understand ourselves. Okay? The first one is Copernicus, who of course came up with a heliocentric view of the universe and decentered mankind from being the center of creation. The second one is Charles Darwin, who decentered human beings in the evolutionary tree, right? We're just one creature among many with a common evolutionary path. The third is Freud. And Freud also decentered us as being rational creatures. It turns out we're not all that rational. Robert Heinlein wrote, one of his great quotes is that we're not really rational creatures, but we're great rationalizers, right? We make up good stories about ourselves after the fact. The fourth one is the one we're in now. And this is the information revolution. And the 2 heroes here are Alan Turing and Claude Shannon. Turing taught us what? That computation is actually a fairly abundant physical process. It's not unique to human beings. And Shannon taught us that information is also a physical process that's fairly abundant. Well, that decenters the human again, right? Because what we realize is that we are information agents in a universe that's populated with different kinds of information agents. And indeed, as Craig Vendek says, even a cell is an information system. So you can see that human beings then are decentered again, and we are just one kind of information agent in an information sphere. Well, what's that do when we start thinking about the work we're doing here in creating information systems of law, right? Well, look at this. These are, you can't quite see that, but they're all the Supreme Court justices going back and with lines connecting them on how they cite each other. So it's a network, right? A complex network, and we can see law as an information system as well in an infosphere, which is Floridi's word for this information environment in which we operate. The question that comes up is, what's the human relationship to that information system, which exists more and more, right, in networks, digital networks, that are being analyzed, searched with artificial intelligence, right? Where's human agency in this? And that becomes a very serious question, I think, for thinking about the kinds of things that we're building and our hopes for the kinds of technology we're developing. The question becomes this, at its center. Are we building things that empower human agency, or are we building things that empower the system? Right, which I've come to call Cthulhu, the beast. Right? Right? It's a dark thing, which is to say, does the law serve us, or do we end up being like Charlie Chaplin's character in Modern Times, merely an agent serving the system? So that's my talk. Thanks.
Okay. but not least, we have Tom Brooke, who's going to come up, and we're pulling up his slides. For those of you on Twitter, we've been taking pictures down here and putting it on Twitter. I guess somebody wrote some crazy article. I'm sad that Vicky's gone. Somebody named @John Greathouse said women in today's tech world should create an online presence that obscures their gender. Whoa. So somebody tagged me in that. I did get an email from Forbes earlier, because I write for Forbes, saying that we're not allowed to comment on whatever this guy has written, and I hadn't had a chance to look it up. So, wow is all I have to say, and over to you.
Work to be done, folks. Which do I do? The
right.
My name is Tom Brooke, and I'm a legal hacker. This is a great picture. This is, I don't know if you remember, there was a 1985 movie called War Games. It starred Matthew Broderick, and he was a hacker, and he almost started World War III. This is where the missiles are about to launch. And actually, he solved the problem by teaching the computers to play tic-tac-toe. And they realized if you play tic-tac-toe on a computer, nobody wins. And he said, if this happens, nobody wins. So he's kind of my hero as a hacker. And hackers, unfortunately, maybe since that time or because of that, have a kind of bad reputation. You hear about the Russians are hacking into the Democratic emails, or somebody's hacking into Hillary's emails, or Trump has identified a 400-pound person that's sitting in his bedroom that really is doing it instead of the Russians. But I'm here to advocate for the hackers and say we're really good people. There's two hats that you can put on. There's a black hat and there's a white hat. One of the white hat guys, although this might not really look at him, this guy is called Richard Stallman. Do we have any coders out there? If you're a coder, one of the rites of passage in being a coder is you use Emacs as your editor, which is the ultimate hacker's editor, and this was invented way back in the 70s by Richard Stallman. The hacker term basically came from Model Railroad Club, of all things, at MIT, but I think the real hackers were really in the MIT Artificial Intelligence Lab. And what their motto was, we just want to see how far we can take computers. Where can we stretch them? How much can we stretch them? And that's kind of the coda for the legal hackers. We want to take law and computers and technology and basically stretch it. This is a book by Stephen Levy. Some of you might have seen this. It's called Hackers, Heroes of the Computer Revolution. Actually, in 2010, this book had its second printing after 25 years out. Features Richard Stallman and a lot of the guys that basically started the computer revolution. As you can see, this is a Venn diagram. It's probably oxymoron. If you're a coder, you know about GitHub and you have a GitHub account. I've got a GitHub account. If you're a lawyer, you probably don't have a GitHub account. I am one of the few that is trying to get an intersection between these two groups, and we're getting there very, very slowly. And by the way, I am a practicing lawyer. I've been practicing 30-some years. I guess you call it practicing coder. I do web development. Legal Hackers is a group that really started in 2012. It started in Brooklyn at Brooklyn Law School. Jonathan Askin was kind of our founder. And it was a class that he had that were concerned about some internet issues at the time, and they got involved and they started moving ahead. And since then, we are basically explorers, we are doers, and we are legal hackers, of course. It's an international group now. It's spread throughout. I think we cover all countries. This is a picture of a beautiful group of the, not necessarily founders, but this was our first organizational meeting in Chicago, 2015, and those were basically the ones that showed up. I don't know if they're necessarily CEOs or anything. And this is not really a pitch for legal hackers because we're an unorganized organization. We have little if any structure. We did have another international meeting this past year in New York City that Kevin and I both attended. And we do have a presence in North Carolina. Here's NC Legal Hackers webpage. And we do have meetups, mainly through the meetup groups. Kevin hosts at Campbell, and I host one in Charlotte. But rather than talking about the group as a whole, I was going to focus on two particular individuals that to me kind of represent legal hackers and what they do. And the first has gotten recognition. This is actually from an ABA journal, and he's a professional legal hacker. He's a step above us, other amateur legal hackers. But David Vendek, He was formerly general counsel for the Council of the District of Columbia, and he worked right there in D.C. And the D.C. legal hackers is probably one of the most active legal hackers, probably after the New York City one. And he was doing numerous things as counsel in the District of Columbia. He has since moved on to a federal agency called G15, which is promoting open source software in the federal government. One of his projects, which he's trying to directly address the GitHub issue, is he's got a coding for lawyers website you can go through. He's got, and it's not really language specific, it's got Markdown and HTML, but regular expression, data types, and arrays to give you a basic understanding of coding. Another project he did, this was a bot that he did, it's called Scotus Servo. Of course, we all know that the Supreme Court is perfect, and we, as lawyers, you spend hours pouring through these opinions, but actually they do make mistakes, and they go back and actually correct them. And when they go back on the Supreme Court server and correct them, and he's got a little bot that watches that and sends out a tweet every time they make a change in a published opinion. I don't know if they like it. It's not officially sanctioned, but apparently it works. And this is a project I like. This is Kyle Mitchell, and his project I've actually helped him on. Kyle is an attorney practicing in San Francisco. He does corporate and IP law. And in that type of law, you do a lot of drafting and exchanging very complex agreements, contracts, and whatnot. Kyle wanted to make that more open source. He didn't want to deal with PDF and Microsoft Word. So his product is called Common Form. It's a completely open source project. It deals completely straight ASCII text, but it stores the files underneath as JSON, which is completely machine readable code. He's got a website, and you'll notice, well, T. Brooke's got 1/3 from the bottom, and NC Legal Hackers is actually there. You can kind of think of him as a legal Zoom a little bit for lawyers. And there's a form that he's got, that's a typical corporation form. But you will notice that at the top, all that little string of numbers, he's kind of borrowed some ideas from the blockchain. That's basically a cryptographic block right there. That's a cryptographic hash that basically represents everything in that contract. So you can send a contract, a straight ASCII contract, back and forth and share it. And you can tell if it's been changed or altered because the cryptographic hash will be altered. And it's a simple fill in the blanks thing. And another thing that he's done, the blanks are, you can fill in the blanks like LegalZoom, but the blanks preserve confidentiality. Programmers share their stuff constantly all the time. Lawyers have a hard time doing that because you don't want to reveal confidentialities. So he carefully goes through in Common Form and pulls out anything that would be immediately recognizable, and you can put your articles of incorporation, your contracts up there, and go straight ahead with that. And actually, it's even broken down. Each clause in it has a cryptographic hash. And the idea is you're going to have a big sharing economy of the different documents, and they've been identified solely by the cryptographic hashes. This has been used. You can, export it. There's where the articles, those incorporations can be exported. And you can go back to Word if you have to do that, which I think you have to do if you're in the real world, and deal with it that way. Another use of Common Form, though, that's pretty new. This is from Casey Coleman. He's the CEO of Eris Industries, which is one of the leading corporations working in smart contracts on the blockchain, basically on Ethereum. Well, actually, they're multi-platform, Ethereum and a couple other ones. And he has chosen Common Form as to be the one that he integrates in what he calls a dual integration, the idea that most lawyers can't read Solidity code, which is what most smart contracts are written in. So if you put the Solidity code together with Common Form, this is an idea of what something like that look like. You've got the parties, key hashes, the input parameters, and basically on the bottom is the code contracts, and you can see those same hashes were the ones that I showed you before. So these are just two examples of people that are innovative and creative, like all of you in the room, and I think evolved law and legal hackers are synonymous, basically. Thank you.
Thank you so much.